All right, so right now we're gonna do completing the square. So completing the square, there are a few steps that you need to follow. So what is usually completing the square method is, so for example, for this question, we have 2x squared plus 14x plus 35 is equal to 0. So we'll do completing the square by step 1. Always isolate the x term. So how do we isolate the x term? We isolate it by putting a bracket to it. So that is how we isolate the x term. Next, step 2. So after you isolate the x term, for step 2, you need to be really careful because you must make sure that the coefficient of your x squared term must be positive 1. So over here right now, it's not positive 1. So I need to factorize out the negative 2. So factorize out the negative 2, I'll get x squared minus 7x plus 35 is equal to 0. Now, after you get the coefficient of the x squared is positive 1, next you need to ensure that you need to use this technique called the fat square minus skinny square. So that is the third step. Fat square minus skinny square. Okay, so you need to pay really, really close attention to this. So this strategy, the fat square minus skinny square, is applied to this person right here, the one in blue. So it will be, I'm just going to copy paste the usual, minus 2, okay, square bracket, plus 35. So I literally just copy, paste all this inside. So from here, I'll start my modification, fat square minus skinny square. So how to get this fat square? Can you see this x square term? This x square term will naturally just become x. If this is a minus, just copy paste, it become minus 2. And this number here, you just always take this number and divide by 2. So let's say you have a fraction, means you also take the fraction and divide by 2. So over here, you have 7 over 2. Okay, then now how to get to the skinny square? You just copy paste. Copy paste the 7 over 2. So right now, this is going to be really messy. So I'm just going to copy everything nicely first. Okay, so for this stage, what we're going to do is we're going to start expanding. So step 4 is we're going to expand. Now, this is the part that a lot of students also make mistake. So expand means this negative 2. This is one term on its own. You multiply, but you do not expand out the x minus 7 over 2 square. Then this negative 2, you also multiply to this term. Okay, so if you multiply that in, this one you don't need to multiply anything, you just leave it as it is, but 7 over 2 is actually 3.5. Or you can just write as 7 over 2. And here, because it's negative and negative, it gives me a positive. So 2 multiplied by 7 over 2 square, if you put that into your calculator, what will you get? So if you do that, you'll get this eventually. Then right now, you need to group like terms. Add them up. And this is your answer eventually just by completing the square. However, sometimes the question will have 2 parts. So they say that, first you're going to complete the square, then they want you to start solving. So how do we solve when it comes to here? So always remember, every time, whenever you see this, like have a something square format, right? What you can do is you can just put it on the left-hand side. Okay, so this is a solving. This is a part 2 already. So to do solving, 7 over 2, just leave it as it is. Square is equal to negative 119 over 2. So now you can get rid of the negative 2. You'll get x minus 7 over 2 square is equal to negative 119 over 2 divided by negative 2. That will give you 119 over 4. Then because you have this square, to get rid of this square means you got to square root both sides. But you need to be really careful. Whenever you square root, you need to put a plus minus. So at the end of the day, you'll get x minus 7 over 2, because you square root the square is already gone, is equal to positive square root 119 over 4, or x minus 7 over 2 is equal to negative square root 119 over 4. So from here, you can continue solving, and then you will get two answers of x. The end.